This was as of yesterday. There's 10 days left to the first notice of the March delivery. March delivery, the March contract goes off the board for silver on the 27th, so in 7 or 8 days. With yesterday, so there's 9 days left. As of yesterday, there was an open interest of 58,770 contracts for COMEX, each one being 5,000 ounces. That's 294 million ounces in contracts that could, in theory, stand for delivery. In the February contract, almost every contract that came up to be settled that didn't roll forward to the following month stood for delivery. Huge amount. So a week ago, there was 400 million ounces that could stand for delivery. So 100 million rolled forward to the May contract. April's not a main delivery, May is, which is normal. So you're hedging a position, you're a miner, whatever. So you roll forward to the next contract to hedge your position. But they still there's 294 million ounces outstanding. Now, if half of that stood for delivery, the majority of it stood for delivery in February, almost all of it. If half stood for delivery, that's 147 million ounces, right? Well, here's the interesting thing. The COMEX registered category, which is the bars, the silver that is actually standing behind the contracts, right now there's only 90 million ounces in it. So what could possibly go wrong when you have 300 million ounces in paper that in 8 days could say, I want silver, all of it, with only 90 million ounces of silver standing behind it? If half, you have more. If 20%, that's 60 million ounces of the 90 million. You're this close to the entire thing blowing up. So watch the market. And I just want to leave people with one thought. We've seen a big pullback in gold and silver. It doesn't matter. And as I've said on your show for months now, all that matters, the only thing that matters, is that every single month since last November, a year ago, 16 months, every single month, the most well-informed money in the world is standing for delivery at levels no one has ever seen before.
They want it in their possession.
Yes, and the fact that the mainstream hasn't, the mainstream's missed the entire story. It's not that silver and gold have outperformed, it's who the hell's doing this. Every month since a year ago, November, we've seen between 40 and 70 million ounces of silver, which are billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars worth every month. And then just by chance, just like they did where the BIS reclassified gold in 2019, but all the banks started buying it in 2016, 17, and 18. Just like this, after 16 months of massive demand, massive deliveries, and we've never seen before. It's like 8 feet of snow in Death Valley in July. That's how much of an anomaly it is. The government says, oh, by the way, it's a critical mineral, and we are going to put government-sponsored price floors underneath it, and we are going to put a government-sponsored strategic stockpile. So do not fret for 1 second about what has happened with silver or gold, because every month since a year ago, November, the biggest, most well-informed traders in the United States, which are the biggest in the world, are bringing in literally 9 figures worth of metal every single month, both gold and silver, without stopping. That's all you need to know. Like Wayne Gretzky said, I never skated to the puck, I skated to where the puck was going. That's what these traders are doing.
Andy Schectman warns the silver market is a ticking time bomb. 294 million ounces in paper contracts, backed by just 90 million ounces of real metal. Yet the world's smartest money has quietly taken physical delivery every single month for 16 months straight. The squeeze is coming. Don't sell. Hold. Thanks for watching. Give a thumbs up and subscribe to Fine Metals for the latest insights.
So relax. You will see prices far above where they were when it corrected, and we're already starting to move that way today.
Where is it right now, as of today?
Right now, today, we have gold at, and today is February 19th, we have gold at $5,005, and we have silver at $78. They're both up a little bit. Today, they're moving their way back up, don't worry.
I think, like Bill Holter said, this isn't the time to sell. This is the time to hold. Just
absolutely.
hold.
They shook the speculators out. They knocked all the speculators up by jacking the margin rate up so high.
To buy.
One last piece, and I'll let you go. A week before Christmas, it cost me about $15,000 to hedge a 5,000-ounce contract. So if I have 2 million ounces of silver in my warehouse, I need to hedge 2 million. If I have 2 million ounces and the price drops by $10, I'm out 20 million. But not if I sold short on COMEX the exact same amount. So I'm market neutral. Few days before Christmas, it was 15 grand to hedge 5,000. Then they bumped it up to 18 grand. Then they bumped it up to 21 grand. And now it's up to almost $50,000. They keep raising margins. You have to have 50,000 in a margin account to hedge 5,000 ounces.
Wow.
Well, what if you have 2 million? If you don't have $50 million in a margin account, you're not playing in this sandbox. So all the traders that speculated and bought all these contracts just by posting margin, they've gotten margin called so many times they say the hell with it, they sell, which drops the price, and
That's
selling
a lot
begets selling
what's
begets selling. And then the big money who every month is standing for delivery between 40 and 70 million, not on margin, ounces worth, not dollars, ounces, which is billions. They say, thank you for letting silver drop and gold drop. We're going to stand for delivery in 9 days at a massive subsidy and a huge amount. Thank you for playing in our sandbox. Better not do it again or we'll do it to you again. So, and I thought about this the other day, even in terms of Miles Franklin. And, you know, we're not such a small business. We did almost $1 billion in sales last year. We're not a small business. But I thought about this. And that is, JP Morgan last year spent over $1 billion on IT security. You have Google who came out with the Google Willow chip, which is a prototype, but they made it. China says we have one even faster, but the Willow chip, if you Google it, look at it, was made by Google, does in 5 minutes what the world's fastest supercomputer does in 10 septillion years. That's 10 to the 25th power or whatever. So you talk about where we are going with the advancement of AI and quantum computing and say, how am I going to protect my small business? The amount of money it will cost to not only stay relevant with a web presence and you know, a marketing platform and customer interface, how about security? The amount of money it will cost small businesses just to maintain relevancy in an environment where if you don't have a massive $1 billion on protecting their information, I mean, are you kidding me? That means they're spending almost $100 million a month to protect their IT because they're constantly getting bombarded. And so what happens to the small businesses who don't have that? Are they just going to get destroyed by quantum computing? And yeah, I mean, so we're moving to a place, if things don't change, somehow, some way, this country's in trouble. And it starts with manufacturing. It starts with education, where Ray Dalio just came out and said 60% of the United States has a literacy rate under the 6th grade. That ain't good when you figure we're broke, we're insolvent, we don't make anything, we're uneducated, and here's AI to kneecap all the jobs. Where do you go? You have to reshore manufacturing, and I think that's what he is doing. He is going back to a mercantile type of situation where, you know, we're going to protect this country and build it from the inside out and be damned with the globalized thing where, yeah, maybe we won't find goods as cheap at Walmart and maybe we won't have the luxury that we once had in terms of everything you want at your fingertips at the Mall of America. I don't know. I guess talking about politics and stuff is never a smart thing. I am all for President Trump. I'm a patriot. And if he sees that this is something that needs to be done, so be it. But how does it affect the markets? I will tell you something very interesting, and that is that every single war that I can think of, going back to Desert Storm many years ago when I was new in this industry, the very first insursion into Iraq, they knock the price down leading into the war. When you would think that the price should be going higher, the Western banks that want to maintain calm, the first thing you want to do is quell the market. Everyone would expect gold and silver to go parabolic because of it, but no, we've got everything under control, so let's just step on the market a little bit. Let's goose the equity market. The Dow goes way up, price of gold stays down, everyone forgets about the Epstein files, and you know, everything is business as usual. We don't see this. It's 7,000 miles away in another part of the world. But it's enough already. It's bankrupting this country, and it probably doesn't serve this country in the end so well. And we point to Iraq. We went there 23 years ago looking for weapons that were never there. And we destroyed their country, and we're still occupying the country. And, you know, there's something wrong about that.
What does that do to the views of the U.S. when we do stuff like that?
Well, what do you think it does? I mean, if you were the rest of the world saying, well, so they went there 23 years ago, they were invaded a country under false pretenses, destroyed it, toppled the regime, they're still occupying it, and They have the nerve to kick Russia out of SWIFT, steal $5 billion in their treasuries, give it to the Ukraine in the form of weapons, continuously fund the Ukraine in this war, and provide military intelligence as to where to drop the bombs. Isn't that really an act of war? If it was the other way around and we were in a war with Mexico and Russia was providing weapons and military intelligence and locking us out of the world payment system and stealing our treasuries that we had invested, isn't that an act of war? So what is it? I mean, again, I'm not passing judgment, but I think if you don't look at the other side, you're stupid. It's like you get arrested for murdering your husband and you were fast asleep and you woke up, he was dead next to you and you didn't do it, and your attorney, who you are getting the highest buck attorney in the state, and says, listen, Sarah, I don't need to know the plaintiff's argument. You just tell me your argument, that's all that matters. You're going to feel comfortable going to court that way? I don't think so. And I think if you don't understand the other side of it, and that is that it gets old, I'm sure, for the rest of the world. Imagine if it was here and we had foreign countries or the same country continually coming in to the United States. And I'm not trying to say anything, passing judgment on Zelensky or on Putin or on the war. I'm just simply saying it is not up to the U.S. to be the arbiter of right or wrong and remove all pretenses of being impartial as it pertains to the world reserve currency, and then we can go and do these things in places like Iran, like in Iraq, like in Libya, like in Syria, like in Venezuela, like in Greenland. All these things that we decide to do, what's good for the goose, not so much for the gander. And I just think that it's getting old. If you ever have bet any sports games, I live in Florida. A guy in my neighborhood is one of the core developers of the Hard Rock Casino betting app, and he's intimately intertwined with it, and the amount of money that this guy makes is ridiculous. But if you ever bet on a game before, the odds makers are so out of control close to what the numbers are, it's frightening. Like they'll say the over-under for the game is 37, and it will come in at 36 or 38, or it's 37 and a half, and it will come in at 37. Whatever it is, they're so close. And when you talk short to medium term outcomes, where many informed active traders participate, or in this case, odds makers participate, I think you'll have great predictive capability. You see it in sports betting. Why not do it in things like politics? And I think the only ones where they won't have the type of predictive qualities will be where there are thin markets, where there aren't a lot of people betting on it. Well, that's going to be something that you might have a better chance of hitting the long run on, or the long shot on. But I think that the long horizon events have low probability, but the short term, like who's going to be the Fed chief, because you have the cumulative knowledge and its huge amount of volume, tells me you probably don't want to bet against that one. You probably want to go with the favorite.
Let's look at Prince Andrew, for example. That's new, 86,000. Let's look at Epstein. That can't be new. I don't know. I mean, these are at 3 million. Trump out as president before 2027. I don't see that as Epstein. But, I mean, these are kind of big. I don't know why the Fed chair is so much bigger than everything else. I wonder why that is. How about crypto? That would probably be a big one. This is live. What price will Solana hit February 16th to the 22nd? I don't know if they tell you what the current numbers are. But, I mean, these are large numbers.
Well, that's something, if you think about it, like, you wonder, if there aren't a lot of people betting on something like that, you wonder, I mean, is it manipulative? Like, if you have the ability to control the outcome to a degree, could you go on a site like this, bet big money, and then try and manipulate? I wonder if it gets that deep. But when you talk about, the accuracy of some of this stuff, they're aggregating. That's the same thing when you look at the movements of the market. When they say price is already baked into it, because the market takes all of the information cumulatively that represents the market. And some people have far more diverse set of information than others. And so the aggregating of all of the people's information, this is why they will outperform single polls and are especially good for near-term outcomes, because you have lots of people that know where this is going, kind of where the puck is going, that will come in and do this. I think when you talk about political markets like this, when you have enough people participate, you wonder how much of that information is very well calibrated. I think a lot of it is. I think the predictive quality of a site like this is very intriguing, and I think it would be fun just to take the long shot bets with a tiny bit of money once in a while and see if you get lucky.